Hi, I'm Jan, and I'm the person that you've been told about is going to be on the Big Bad World. And thank you for watching us. I am a friend of Katie and Dimitri, whom I met 2 years ago when they moved into my neighborhood. I was born in Massachusetts, very close to Boston, Massachusetts. World War II was still going on when I was born. When I was about 3, my family moved from Massachusetts north to New Hampshire, which is called one of the New England states. They are the oldest states in our country, first ones to make laws and become legal and all like that. There's not a lot of activity there. Great for kids. Great place to raise kids. Not a great place to be a young adult or a middle-aged adult or somebody my age, and I'm 74. My childhood was awesome. I had literally no responsibilities, which was a very bad idea on my mother's part because I still don't know how to do a lot of things like cook. Anyway, we played. We did not have electronics. We didn't even have television. We had books for kids and we had games, and the rest of the time we were outside playing imaginary games where I might be a horse and my friend is behind me with a rope tied around my throat going, giddy up, pretending to be the cowgirl. I mean, we could have killed each other, and our parents did not know. So we had a lot of unsupervised activity. It was safe. Your children didn't get kidnapped. They didn't get beaten up. I'm sure there were some beatings in some places, but that wasn't in my life at all. It was safe for children to walk a whole neighborhood, maybe a mile or more, at dark, in grammar school from kindergarten through 6th grade. You could never do that now. You could never let a child do that now. You couldn't let a child go down your stairs and up your neighbor's stairs without watching. That's how scary the world is now. Anyway, we played outside all the time, even in the winter. In the winter, we made snowballs, we made igloos, we dug caves out of the heap the snowplow left. We dug caves in there that had lots of rooms, and then we sprayed water in them to make them have icy walls. And when we got old enough, we went skiing or sledding or tobogganing or snowshoeing. We were outside even in the winter, just not in a storm. My education started in kindergarten, which is the year before grade 1. In our country, we go kindergarten and grade 1 through grade 12. Some of that's in grammar school, also known as elementary school. Some of it is in junior high, and some of it is in senior high. I did that. It was a very good school in a very good school system. I probably came out of high school with more education than children come out here from their first year in college. Not every college or university, not Harvard, not Yale, not a lot of state universities, but we were better educated back then. I did not finish college at the correct age, I was asked to leave because I wasn't serious enough and didn't do any work. I went to work and got a job instead and was very happy until I was 40 years old when I decided I really want to go back to school. And I took a year to get used to the idea and to convince my husband that it was a good idea and he was going to have to be our sole support. I wasn't going to help anymore. And I did it, and I went back to college, and I don't think I've enjoyed anything that much until I retired. I loved going back to school. My university had a lot of mature and even senior people in it. And I took one summer off, and then I started graduate school. And I got a master's degree in my field, which is geography, and my specialty is cartography. Technically, I'm retired. I had several years with no job at all, and then I started to work for the park I live in, and that's a part-time job. And just last week, I started another part-time job where I will be working from my own home because I have internet, and I will be working on my laptop researching particular information from the surrounding county databases. A county is a subgroup within a state, like a province. Personal stuff. Good grief. First of all, I don't have any secrets. The only person I ever kept secrets from was my mother because she disapproved of pretty much everything. My friends have always known completely about my life just because I don't care. I don't do things that other people can't know about. That doesn't mean I don't ever do anything naughty or wrong. After I left college in my 20s, I moved to Atlanta, Georgia, in the southeastern United States. I had never been out of New England in my entire life, with one exception. I went to New York City one time. So I moved many miles away to Atlanta, Georgia, where I lived in a city, in the city limits, in an apartment that had been owned by fraternity brothers of the man who became my husband. They were all from Georgia Tech University, downtown Atlanta, Georgia. So I lived in this apartment building and rode a bus to work about 15 miles away. Well, guess what? I was the only white person on the bus, except for the male white bus driver. The first day I got on that bus, they stared at me like I had risen from the dead. I just stammered and went over to the bus driver and said, "Do I need to sit in a special place?" I honestly didn't know. That's how naive I was, because in New Hampshire, where I grew up, there was one African-American family. Back then, we called them Negroes. We never, ever, ever said the bad words that people use today to denigrate anybody's race. We just didn't do it in New Hampshire or in the circles my family. So I was afraid I might not be on the right bus, and maybe there was a specific seat in the back I was supposed to be in. After a few months, the people were very friendly to me because we all rode the same bus every single day at the same time to the same places. So Atlanta, Georgia was the first place I lived as a young adult. And I very shortly after moving became engaged to be married to a man that became my husband 6 months later. Clearly, that was not a smart thing to do, but I was very lucky. He is a very good man, and to this day, we are very good friends, and he is the father of my only biological child, who is a son. He lives in California with his new wife. We're very good friends, all of us. We visit each other when we can, and he has included me as number 3 to pull the plug on him if the time comes in his life that he needs to pull the plug on. That's what kind of man he is. But we weren't meant to be married. It was like being married to your brother, okay? So I was single for a while. I dated a couple of men. None of them were worth marrying. And I met through a friend and a woman who worked with me. I met my next husband. He's in the historical record. If you look him up, his name is Michael J. for John Heck. Michael was one of the first men who was in a United States military service, who went to his commander after 7 years as a bomber pilot in Vietnam and said to his commander, I can't do this anymore. This isn't right. And it wasn't because he had some kind of thing that people get nowadays, because war is so much worse now. He didn't have a head injury. His head was fine when he got out. But he gained quite a lot of notoriety throughout our entire country. That was the man that I met through a friend of mine and ultimately married, and was married to for 20 years. He went to graduate school. I supported him. I went to school and graduate school. He supported me. Together, we raised my biological son from the time he was almost 5 until he went off to college. Now, we weren't alone. Remember, that child has a father. We lived 6 miles apart. His father married a woman that is my best and oldest friend in my life right now. We are sisters. Neither of us is married to that same man. And I think he's a good man and she doesn't. But anyway, that child had 4 parents loving him, bossing him around, telling him what they didn't even let their own parents tell them what he should do with his life. And finally I said, it's his life. Everybody leave him alone. He'll figure it out. And he did. And he's 50 years old, and he's a very happy man today, in spite of being brought up by 4 parents. So after 20 years of marriage, or let me say, after 19 years of marriage, during my last year of marriage, I became aware very slowly, and actually with the help of a psychiatrist and a psychologist, with their help, I found out that I was bisexual.